got lots of UFO stuff to talk about today, guys, so get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please like and subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments below. Yeah, we have something really exciting to look forward to on November 9th. The Republic of Peru is having a congressional hearing about the Nazca mummies. This is so exciting, guys. I can't wait. We've got bodies, y'all. We've got bodies. Jaime Maussan actually reached out to me personally to ask me if I would stream the English dub version of it. And I told him I'd be happy to do it. So hopefully that'll work out. I'm looking forward to sharing that with you guys. But this is just so exciting, guys. And one of the researchers of the Nazca mummies is talking about this, which is really, really interesting. The discovery of the tridactyl bodies from Nazca, Peru becomes increasingly extraordinary when it is discovered that among the artifacts related to these burials, there are stones with inscriptions that would resemble the Vinca culture of more than 6,000 years before Christ. Vinca writing, or something that looks an awful lot like Vinca writing, found in association with the Nazca mummies. Now, this is from the pyramid that was supposedly found in the citadel. Now, if this thing exists, where is it, right? Did it get sold on the black market? Is it still there? What's going on with this pyramid? Is it a real thing? And if that pyramid is real, then what about the rest of those videos that were supposedly taken by the Tomb Raiders themselves? Them fighting mantis beings and stuff like that. Yeah, Tim, yeah, mantis beings. I said it. So what's going on with that? And does the pyramid actually show Vincan writing or something related to that? That's crazy. And this is one of the tombs themselves where the bodies were found, where a bunch of bodies were stored in this big tomb, and it has things that look like Vincan writing on it. So who were the Vincans? Well, they were people that lived in the Balkans in Europe, like 5000 BC, in that era for a period of time. And they had sophisticated farming techniques, and they had figurines of beings that don't look entirely human. The Vincans are a really interesting culture. I had a viewer of the channel reach out to me and tell me about his interesting out-of-body experience with the Vincans, where he went back in time. And, I'd love for him to come forward someday and relay his story on the channel. But it's entirely possible that the Vincans, this European culture, could be players in all of this somehow. Maybe survivors of ancient Atlantis came amongst these people long ago, or maybe they're descendants of the survivors of Atlantis, something like that, or at least influenced by the survivors of Atlantis. And it should be said that those survivors did get around, and they seem to have disseminated their culture or elements of it all over the world. Graham Hancock talks a lot about that. Getting back to the writing, not the Vincan writing, but something that Graham Hancock illustrated in the season 2 of Ancient Apocalypse. I think I'm on like episode 5 right now. There's a really cool element, and then one of the episodes where he shows writing at Easter Island, and this was not a literate society. They didn't have writing way back in the day, other than this. Other than that writing that he shows in that episode. So could that writing, Graham asks, be indeed the writing of Atlantis? Graham doesn't use the word Atlantis. He uses, ancient civilization, the lost civilization that he has spent his career looking for. Really, really interesting. And I want to say there might be some similarities with Vincan, but I'm not a writing expert. You writing experts that have seen that episode, maybe you can tell me what you think, if that compares in any way to Vincan, or what that does compare to. So could that be the writings of Atlantis? And could they have influenced the Vincan culture, which, was a really interesting culture with interesting alien type figurines? They had sophisticated farming techniques. Yeah, and they may be players in all of this. Really, really interesting. Meanwhile, Matt Ford, when he was talking to George Knapp, was talking about ways we could discover more about Immaculate Constellation and potentially other programs through FOIA.
And regarding the Immaculate Constellation program, a hint that I would put out to folks that are interested in FOIA is the parent Immaculate word is used in other programs. It's not housed in DoD. You need to go look under the NSC, and I think you may find a few things. So it's worth digging into. That is for sure. And
All right. Well, John Greenwald and others that like to FOIA, you've got a possible suggestion from Matt Ford about where to dig next to get info on the UFO control group. But back to the Nazca mummies. That's right. I've got Nazca mummies on the brain, guys. As always, Nazca Mummy Twitter channel has this to say about what to expect from the hearing on November 9th. Agenda for the Peruvian hearing on November 9th. Allow scientists to present evidence supporting the mummies as genuine remains. That's number one. Number two, recognize the contributions of Jaime Maussan, Joyce Mejia, and Mexico in highlighting the significance of this discovery. Indeed, if it weren't for Mexico, Peru would not be having this conversation, which is, sad, but it is the way it is. So thank you so much, Jaime and the other people of Mexico, like Joyce Mantilla. 3, support further exploration of the Nazca mummies. Absolutely. 4, review current knowledge and outline next steps for advancing research. 5, discuss plans for a museum to exhibit the discovery and consider its tourism benefits. Hell yeah, that would be one of the hottest tickets in Peru to go take a gander at non-human bodies, guys. We've got alien bodies, or at least hybrid beings created by off-world beings, most likely. Maybe they're created by ultra-terrestrials or something like that, but, not created by us. Not created by us. And obviously, to my mind, created beings. Hybrids of some sort, something like that. 6, release the independent analysis report on Maria and Wawida. And of course, Maria has had, I believe, 2 peer-reviewed papers on her. Just amazing stuff. 7, emphasize the educational and cultural value of the discovery. Absolutely. When you get to the culture part, that kind of, sends up some alarm bells in me, because the Ministry of Culture has been trying to suppress this stuff forever, and part of the rationale for that is that it's cultural heritage, right? But is it? I mean, it is in part. I mean, these beings are enshrined in the Nazca artwork, etc. And that part, at least, is cultural. But these beings clearly come from a alien culture. So, just throwing that out there. Just throwing that out there. But the humans of the time were interacting with them, and they were absolutely part of their culture. And so, in a way, you can say the Nazca beings are indeed part of Peruvian culture. So I'm with that, but I don't necessarily want them to fall, the bodies themselves, to fall under any Ministry of Culture, restrictions, which is, worrying. 8, ensure the scientific community they can study the bodies without restrictions. Heck yeah. 9, address potential actions if tridactyl beings are still present on Earth. And we hear this again and again. And there's even evidence of it that I've shown on multiple videos, that there are little beings that are still around on Earth today. I've made multiple videos about the little bitty guys. I mean, some of them are just like a few inches tall, that are seemingly still around, because those bodies are not very old. The one in Russia Alyoshenko, I'm probably totally butchering that name, it was still alive when that lady found it and started, trying to nurse it and take care of it. So yeah, these beings still seem to be alive. The rumors from the locals of South America and Peru and the Andes, they do talk about seeing these beings or similar beings, potentially like the little Nazca beings, coming and going from caves still today. So yeah, absolutely 100%. And we need to make contact, peaceful contact, and find out more about them. And hey, maybe have some sort of relationship with them. Contacts between peoples. Can you imagine one of the Nazca beings going to the White House and sitting down, with the president or something like that? Yeah, really, really interesting. Really interesting. The possibilities that exist. Unlikely, but possible. 10, present non-human writing that has been discovered. Yeah, the non-human writing, and I believe we've gone over the writing that looks an awful lot like a Vincan writing, but we don't know. We don't know. Let's see. 11, discuss newly identified specimens and share their medical findings. 12, propose modifications to 2 laws to confirm the discovery's authenticity and improve access for study. Yeah, so, do we want the Ministry of Culture to be able to have access to this site? Do we? Maybe they're playing nice now so that they can get access to the Citadel, to the site where these bodies are found. Again, I have zero trust for the Ministry of Culture, and if they are involved in this in any capacity, which they seem to be, they've even studied the bodies themselves now. What to expect from them? Have they turned a new leaf? Maybe they have. But it wasn't long ago that they were peddling disinformation, saying the Nazca mummies were dolls. So, again, have they turned a new leaf? Or are they just playing nice now so they can contaminate the waters later? I don't know. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. 12, yeah, we've done 12. 13, explore plans for a second or follow-up hearing to continue discussions. Yes, absolutely. We need to continue this discussion. So, yeah, thank you very much, Nazca Mummies, for putting that up. Really appreciate it. It makes me even more excited to see the hearing on the 9th. And I hope, again, to be streaming that with you guys. We'll see if that works. I've never done that before, and my technical skills are limited. So we'll see. We'll see. Meanwhile, mystery as 4 NASA astronauts are rushed to hospital without explanation after returning from space. A crew of 4 NASA astronauts was recently hospitalized without explanation after returning from space. After spending more than 200 days on the International Space Station, the crew 8 astronauts splashed down off the coast of Florida in the early morning hours of October 25th. NASA revealed that 1 astronaut received medical care following the return, but on Monday it was found that all members had been taken to the hospital. Yeah, that's alarming, guys. That's super scary. Let's see. Here's the important part. NASA has not released any details about why the crew was hospitalized, which astronaut had to complete an overnight stay, or whether the medical issues were related to their return to Earth. So, I have seen way too many horror movies. That's where my mind goes. But I'm sure it was something perfectly mundane, and we'll find out more about it soon. But yeah, my mind instantly leaps to B horror movies, which I love, but I would not want to be living one. So my heart goes out to those astronauts. I hope they're safe and well. And I hope we find out more about what they were going through very soon. Meanwhile, Richard Dolan says, do you think there are millions of UFO witnesses? Comment your choice by number. One, there are a few hundred legitimate witnesses. Two, there are a few thousand witnesses. Three, there are more than 5,000, uh, but no more than 100 or 200,000. Four, yes, there are almost a million people who have witnessed UFOs. Five, more than a million. Well, actually, according to the Roper poll that was done by David Jacobs and Bud Hopkins and John Mack in the 90s, it appears that there's a lot more than that. The Roper poll, which didn't ask people if they were abducted or not, but just ask various questions. Do you experience missing time or this and that effect? And back then people didn't know what those were, so they hopefully answered honestly. And the results showed that I would believe it was 2% of the populace were indeed abductees. David Jacobs has said that they actually had to the real numbers were so alarming that they shaved off a bunch of respondents, positive answers, and they whittled it down to 2%. But the real numbers were closer to 5%. But let's just say 3%. That's not just a million people. We're talking upwards of 100 million people globally. That's alarming. That's crazy. That's Mary Rodwell and Dolores Cannon and Barbara Lamb. They all have a more positive, optimistic view of abductions than Bud Hopkins and David Jacobs. So hopefully they are right, because if that Roper poll is correct, many people are experiencing this. And if we can call them witnesses, and we can, I suppose, their minds may have been wiped and their memories erased, but many of them recover those memories through hypnotic regression. So if we can call those witnesses, absolutely, there are more than more than any of these, right? More than a million. Number 5. That would be my answer based on that Roper poll. The phenomenon is vast. It's overwhelming. Abductions are definitely real. And the interesting thing about abductions it's a multi-generational phenomenon often, and people are abducted not just once, but throughout their lives, periodically throughout their lives. So yeah, Stephen Greer would have you believe it's all the military. Does that sound like something the military could do? Over 100 million people, over generations, multiple times throughout their lives, all around the world, for the most part, without ever getting caught. So yeah, let me know if you think the military could do that. And also, Stephen Greer says they do that to sow fear in people about the phenomenon. Well, they have their minds wiped. So, not sowing a lot of fear there, right? Stephen Greer has done a lot of good for the community, but he also puts a lot of BS out there. So I think that's unfortunate. Anyway, there is, meanwhile, a dust-up between Merrick von Rennenkamp and Mick West. I'm not going to go through it all, but I'll let you read it at your leisure. But yeah, we have back and forth between Merrick and Mick West. We have Matt Ford chiming in, and it goes on for a few different threads. There's more Mick saying one thing and Merrick saying another thing. So it's an interesting back and forth. So if you want to see both sides of an argument, well, here it is. So, I'll provide the links and you can check it out again at your leisure. And let's see. I think that's about it, but I did want to end on this. The former DNI James Clapper requested all of the NSA's UFO files in 2016, according to Admiral Mike Rogers.
The Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper, calls me, Mike, I need you to go through all of it. I need the team to go through all of NSA's holding all of its files, and I need everything that you have on UFOs. And I'm like, what, sir? You want me to do a review of our databases on UFOs? And I'm literally thinking to myself, is this some kind of joke? But clearly it's not, which is reflected in the question. For a lot of people, this is, hey, what is going on out there? Look, clearly there are phenomena occurring out there that both are visible and that we can't explain. I don't know what causes them. I don't know what they are. I don't know why. I never saw anything in my experience in the government in 37 years, both as an intelligence professional, but also as a senior military individual. I never saw anything that led me to believe that there was some external, i.e. non-terrestrial actor behind this kind of activity. But the flip side is I couldn't explain yet some of the activity. I just don't know.
Okay, well, at least he admits there's activity that he saw that he couldn't explain. But yeah, DNI head James Clapper, or former DNI, excuse me, James Clapper, was interested in UFOs and was collecting UFO information from the NSA back in 2016. So what did he find? I would love to know. Sounds juicy. And what does that imply? Was that, a was that the Okay, Ben. All right, I've got to go, guys. Let me know what you think about it all in the comments below. Love you guys. Thumbs up, subscribe, become a channel member, become a rock star. Really appreciate you guys. And there are plenty of other videos on the channel. See you next time, guys.